Hello guys, how are you? How are you? My name is Yota Tina.
My name is Austin Okinda.
And sorry, I keep forgetting that this is a podcast, but I keep doing it as if
I was wondering, wasn't it amusing? Well, that's how we kick off episode 18.
oh wow, yes.
That's how we kick it off.
2 more to go. We reached 20. I'm so excited. To keep it at 20, I said I'm going to treat myself. So yeah, I'll keep
What is why do you like having fun?
may just laugh fun. Because if you do things like nijobo, you'll just get tired. I know you
Jobs they get.
and
Okay.
just do
Says it validate point yako. Bye.
silly sour. Today we're talking about signs that you're living in a toxic.
No, louder.
Signs that you're living in a toxic family.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's a sensitive issue
Yeah.
because many people are made to feel like they are the problem.
And
When
yeah,
the problem is not them. And it's something so personal to me because I feel like many people go through it, but we don't want to come out because we're like, okay, it's our parents, we should be grateful to them, but to what extent, sorry? To what extent should we keep entertaining what they do to us?
and just like the way you said, a lot of people, honestly, they're passing through all these things, but they don't want to talk about it. Or maybe they fear if they talk about it, things won't end well on their side. And I've ever had an experience where someone tried talking and it turned out to be something that really the person doesn't want to talk about it again. So I feel like it doesn't also mean that it's only parents, but I don't know if we're focusing on one side, but there's so many things that might tell you that you're living in a is it toxic family or toxic house? Yeah.
Okay, it comes off mostly in single parent house or households, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes, okay, let me give an example. For example, there's a mom who is a single parent.
Yeah.
And the mom and the dad divorced, right? So the dad alienda, kitambo, they'll akakona kitu kama child support. And people who pursue child support have a backup. Like they have the finances to keep the cases running till they find a solution to that case. And they have a ruling, right?
And divorce was also not that common as it is right.
Yeah, and kitambo divorce was, divorce tumeachana, but there was no gawanya property simply because you didn't contribute. But right now they have the policy on house cleaning, house chores are also part of contribution.
But I feel like that law is unfair because let me give an example. There's no way you will work and work and work hard. Then I come into your life, I take half of your things. For me, if it's a divorce, I wouldn't take anything from that lady because they worked for it. Let me go and work for mine. But that's my own opinion.
Yeah.
And
Okay. So I was just giving an example. So then the lady see amebaki peke yake. She has to work hard to raise this child on her own.
Yeah.
And each time she sees this child anamkumbusha whatever happened in the past. And then it brings this resentment and they want to control the child's life because they don't want a repeat for the child.
Yeah.
It mostly happens to girls because the moms feel like the girls are so vulnerable and anything can happen to you out there. So they want to choose what you wear, where you're going, who your friends are, what course you do. They want to tailor you into what they think you should be or what they didn't achieve.
But I feel like
Then, let me just finish the example, then we can talk about it. Then, so the mom teaches the child in that upbringing. And the child, it's only doggo, but they start to see things, right? The child starts to process all these emotions and they're like, I'm the reason why my mom thinks this way. I should always do everything to comfort her. So you end up doing everything they ask you to do. And this brings the aspect of the child not living their life. They're literally living the mom's life. That is just example one.
So experiences are out here and people don't really talk about it. So we want to break down some of these things and talk about it. I'm pretty sure that someone somewhere will be watching this and they'll feel like, okay, now that they have said it, they have done it as a topic in their podcast. Why can't I do it? I feel like at times we usually come and record and I'm like, someone out there doesn't have that voice to do it. But when we start doing it, maybe one or two people
it's something to be talked about. And I feel like mostly that if there was an organization for children who live in toxic families to come out and tell their story, it will really go a long way. I mean, tuko wengi, we just don't want to talk because we feel like we are dedicated to protecting our parents, right?
I usually tell myself that after turning 18, what happens in the next 10 years lies in your hands. Whatever decision you make is with you, not your parent. And if they make a decision for you, the next 10 years might either be good or bad for you. So I usually say that once you've turned 18 and you're now starting being a young adult, there are things that you will start doing yourself. But to some point again, some parents don't care if you're 20, 30, they don't care. But here's that episode where we talk about it. So toxic families, it comes in so many ways. And there are things that people never thought that this one can be toxic, but it is. Okay, I want to talk about my first point will be, you see, when you start seeing your parents trying to control what you want to do in the future, for example, they want to control your career and tell you, by the way, I want you to do this. Remember the statement, I want you to do this. They're not like, what do you want to do? It's what they want. Believe me, for 40 years, you'll live in regret. You'll be imprisoned with their decisions. Maybe you didn't want to be a lawyer, but because your parents insisted, then you are. So I feel like when it comes to that, and it's what I'm trying to say is trying to control what you do the same way you said it.
Yeah.
This one is one of the things that people don't see it as toxic, but to me, I feel like it's very toxic. There's no way I'm 20 or I'm 21, then you want to control each and everything I do. You want to plan everything.
This way, I feel like parents will always have something to say about everything. So it is not wrong to say, I want you to do this. But the toxicity comes in when they give you conditions and they want you to take full control of what you're doing, or when you don't do this, this will happen. That is toxicity, or they start to treat you differently. I mean, what about, let us sit down and say, okay, I wanted you to do this, and this is what you want to do. Can we sit down and put the variables together and see which one is better?
Controlling everything that I do, for me, you can tell me, by the way, I want you to do this. Give me your reasons. But when you want to take full control of it, now I'll be like, no, it shouldn't be that way. Talk to me. Tell me, by the way, I want you to study law, or I want you to work with this person because of this and that. Give me reasons. Persuade me with the reasons so that I'll make a decision and choose that person. But when you just want to take control of it and you want to dictate what I do, it becomes now toxic. Because why would you do that? Then in the next 5 years, if I'm not successful as per how you expected, you start saying, oh, what's wrong with this? What's wrong with that? I feel like, let me learn some other things. Don't take control of everything. Yeah.
The other sign of toxicity is what do we call that thing?
Perfectionism.
Yeah, perfectionism. Perfectionism, that word.
Perfectionism.
Yeah,
get it, perfectionism.
Even in that, I'm sorry. That word, I just know how to say a perfectionist.
It's much easier.
Longer. So, parents who are perfectionists, they always want you to be the best. They always want you to get the best marks. Okay, for you to want it is not wrong, but for you to make me feel inferior because I'm not reaching your expectations, or because I'm not like you, the firstborn, I'm not like a certain child you're trying to compare me with. Comparison is also a matter or a factor here. And I feel like when the perfectionism comes, we thank you. When perfectionism comes, we make a child feel like they don't matter or their abilities are inferior.
Yeah.
It tends to bring this inferiority complex where a child will always see everything like a competition. If I arrange the house today, you simply come and you don't appreciate it. And you tell me you don't arrange it like Sister Judith. Are you telling me that Sister Judith is better than me? And I start comparing it to everything. Kupika chai, kupanga nyumba, kufagia, kusoma, grades. You want to compare everything. I start to develop that feeling of, I do not matter.
You know, when we bring out perfectionism, I feel like it's one of the most dangerous things that most parents do and affect their children negatively, and they don't see it.
And can I ask you,
Yeah.
do they do this simply because they care about the how do they the social standing? Their standing.
By the way,
society.
do you want a direct answer or a
Just
short
tell me.
answer?
No, I just want it direct.
Let me be direct.
Mhm.
There's nothing good about being perfectionist, and there's nothing like they care. For them, they believe they care, but they do not see the effect.
I'm saying it this way. They only care about themselves. Like, since if you do
true.
something, like for example, let me say teenage, early pregnancy. Right now, akuna teenage. Teenage is not that popular. There's only early because people are getting pregnant at the age of 20, 25, and that's not wrong. It's not wrong. I don't want to say it's wrong. Then the parents would say, oh, so you want to bring up a child, you want to bring a child in my house. How
I feel
do
like,
people say about me?
you know,
Why
exactly.
do you just abort it?
You know that point of what will people say about me?
Exactly.
I want to tell parents something. It's not always about you. This is where they go wrong. And they feel like, oh, you know, since I want everything to be, you know, when they say they want things to be perfect, it favors them alone. The grades, I don't know, how you walk, how you dress, how you eat, it favors them. There's a way that you can tell me something. If you want me to perform, encourage me using different ways. Don't tell me that I must be this way. No, maybe, I just be honest with you, maybe academic-wise, I'm not smart, I'm not bright.
The fingers are not.
Exactly. I usually say in the first episodes, I used to say that all these fingers have different sizes and heights, right? So we are not the same. If I'm not smart in class, I might be smart elsewhere. But for our African parents, for them, everything is perfectionism. You see, perfectionism, the way you say it, leads to competition, which is unhealthy. But you know, when you encourage your children, tell them, by the way, whoever performs at the end of the term or at the end of the semester, there's a reward for you. You create some healthy competition in between. They'll work hard. But you know, when you start saying, you must get this, you must do that, it forms something negative in me, and I feel like, oh, I'm only doing this for them. I'm living for them. They never say that. So my other point is when it comes to, I don't know how this one is out, but how do you know that you're living in a toxic family when parents start using scriptures against you and in favor of them? This is where now I'm usually hurt with this, because there's a verse that most of the parents do like, but they don't talk about it. Adimusho. I think it's Ephesians. Somewhere, I think is it chapter 3. I'm not very sure. Where it talks about parents, where it talks about children respecting their parents. What most of the parents do is they don't go to the next one. The next one talks about parents not provoking.
Is it parents or fathers? It says fathers.
It should be fathers, yes. But now let's just have it as general, in that it talks to both parents. Parents never know that they shouldn't provoke their children. You see, there's something that most of the parents don't really know, is that the Bible talks to us all. It talks to everyone. So when you read something that favors you, something that makes you seem like you are some sort of a mini god, a demigod, you know, to me, that's how I'll grow, right? Knowing very well that that's how parenthood is. it creates some monsterization of parenthood inside that child. So when they become parents now, they start acting the same. When you want to read scriptures, I usually say, Jisome unisome, because there's no sin that is bigger than the other one. There's no small sin. When you want to preach, tuhubirie sisi wote, usinihubirie mimi mwenyewe. My mistake is my mistake, yes, and I own up to it. What about you? And they never want to admit that. And by the way, I don't know if you've ever experienced this or watched this. When you tell them to read the next verse, defense mode. Straight defense mode. Oh, you hate me. Oh, you never want to listen to me. And you just told them, read the next part. So I feel like you'll know that you're in a toxic family once you see your parents start preaching against you in favor of them.
I feel like it's not wrong to preach, but how do you do it? Are you using the scripture to make someone feel bad? We are all humans. We all make mistakes. But when you start using the scriptures to make someone feel inferior, especially when you know their weakness, you just want to wring it. You want to squeeze it out of them. Then when they react, they are now the bad person.
Then you start
opening times
devices.
I sit down and I ask myself, how you treat a child. There's nowhere in the Bible it is written that you must take care of the parents. Or you.
By the way, let me tell you,
I'm not saying that you shouldn't, but it is always a response. It is not a response.
but I feel like it's the next point you're going to. I feel like it's a point. It's a point.
Okay, there is nowhere in the Bible it is written that you should take care of the old parents, but it always it's like a thanksgiving to them.
Oh, very.
It is something that touches your heart and you feel like, wow, my mom did a great job raising me. So let me just do this for her. Because she did it for me for a period of like 20 years and she did complain.
The truth of the matter is that the same Bible that they use against us says that children shouldn't save up for their parents. It's the parents' responsibility to save up for their children.
But now came the African...
But now the African parent...
Well, no, I don't want you to get me wrong. I'm not against a person doing it for their parents, but I'm talking about this in this aspect of you doing bad to your child and you expect them to take...
Yeah, you start saying... Yeah, exactly.
Right age.
Yeah, and you know...
It brings this sense of, the child feels hated. The child feels resentment and resentful towards you. And you are talking of them to give you money. We're all humans. If I go and slap someone out here, then I go the following day and ask them for 10 shillings, do you think they will give me?
High chances they won't.
They won't. They would even slap me back.
So, you see, we were talking about scriptures, right? So I feel like most of the parents use the Bible against us most of the times, watoto. And they use it to favor themselves. Hata kama anajua amefanya makosa, they usually find that verse that talks about what children should do. The mistake is that they forget to read the whole thing. When it comes to that part of saving, we're not saying that it's bad, but now they'll start using the Bible wrong. So I was telling parents that the same Bible you use against us tells us that you as the parent, it's a responsibility to save for your children. And not the other way out.
This in the aspect of, what you're saying is correct. But what I'm trying to say is that if in the coming years, you will expect your child to take care of you, it is better for you to treat them in a better kind of way. I'm not saying that simply because they will be giving you money, you don't discipline them. There's a discipline with love, right? Yeah. You don't have to discipline them in a way that makes them feel like you hate them. Because when a child starts becoming resentful towards you, it is the higher chances are that the dynamic between you and the child will never change.
True.
I mean, you
the way you bring up your child is how it will be forever and ever, unless a miracle happens. Yeah, what's the point?
My next point of toxic families. Hey, I was about to say toxic. I think we think. If it does, then okay. Another sign of being in a toxic family is when they remind you of your mistakes each and every time. We are all humans. We all make mistakes.
Yeah.
And it is very wrong when someone judges you each and every time. Even when you broke a glass, they want to remind you how you broke the curtain rod, how you 10 years ago. I mean,
You see,
it is not wrong to tell someone, everything is wrong there about reminding someone, because the Bible says that we should forgive and let go. And if you as a parent is carrying the whole baggage each and every day to remind them, that is toxicity, because you know their weak point. You're trying to find a reaction so that you can propel your own desires or wishes. But I feel like it's hurtful for you to keep on bringing up an experience that they had, that they didn't handle it in a good way. But when you try to remind them each and every time, it's like you're bringing back the emotions, you're opening up unhealed wounds.
you see, there's something you said. Please, I'm not preaching today, but I feel like this one will also, it'll just lead me to talking about religion. You see, when we do mistakes, we ask God for forgiveness, right? God forgives us and forgets about it, right? Why is it so hard for human beings to forgive and forget? It brings me to your point. You say that they usually remind us of our past. I want to say this. It's not wrong to remind me of my past, but how do you do it? Because maybe that past, even if it was wrong, it will build a new me, right? But most of our parents, the mistake that they do, they remind us time and again of that negative thing that we did. And it happens after we have done something else. Then they start now telling us of our mistakes, 10 years ago. And you're like, say, thought you forgave me and forgot about it. So they usually forgive, yes, but they forget to forget. All they know is, okay, hata tu nitampata siku nyingine. Then when that day comes, you've done something else, the way you said it, they want to find something to trigger your reaction, a negative reaction. Then they start talking. They start saying, you don't respect me, you don't want to obey your parents, all that stuff that they say.
I'd like to give an example. Though, since I didn't get the consent to share this story, I would disclose the person. I will just say person A. So person A did go to get the child from school. She sent person B. Person B went, and the child, in the middle of crossing the road, the child got into an accident and died. Then the dad kept blaming person A for the loss of his child. I mean, okay, I know at times we're like, if you had gone, the child would have died, that's okay. But if you keep reminding this person 7 years down the line that you're the reason why my child died, you're the reason why my child died, I mean, you're psychologically affecting this person.
Yeah.
That is what I'm talking about.
Sorry. It keeps on reminding the person of their mistake. And maybe it was not intentional. And the example, maybe it was not person's A intention to do that. And but how the parent talks about it, it will make you feel like it was your intention. So I kind of feel like when you start reminding me of the things I did, however much they were not intentional, now I'll start feeling some guilt in me, and it might lead to depression, at times suicide, because you keep on reminding me of the things. Why is it so hard for you as a parent? Why is it so hard for you as a guardian to forgive and forget? Just forgive me and forget about it. Or if you really feel like you can't do away with it, with that thought, don't talk about it. Hold yourself. Go and ask God, what should I do? Because I feel like the more you remind that person, you start creating some negative perception inside that person's mind, then psychologically interfere with how they think, with how they do their things. Then when they start now pushing you away from their lives, you're like, oh, watoto wangu wananichukia, No, no. Remember what you did. So my other point is not necessarily about how parents behave, but how siblings behave. There are things that siblings do, and it's just
I feel like siblings are for them forever there.
no. But
To be like,
how do you want to get everything? How do you want? My point is, how do you want to get everything simply because you're a firstborn? Whenever the secondborn has something, you want it. You know, that's not a good behavior.
wow, that's so specific.
I was just, yeah. I mean, there's a competition between the siblings. Yes. The brothers and the sisters, yes. But now when you want to get everything, because I'm a firstborn, I want to take control of everything, that it must pass.
Okay, let's just say this: when a sibling feels like they deserve everything that I don't know for
Really like explaining. It's not always that because you're a firstborn, you must get everything. No. At times, that's how you know it's toxic. And when the parents support it, it now becomes a problem. They start saying, oh, mtoto wangu wa kwanza lazima apate. Si kila saa ni lazima. At times, minimize it. Because you're creating something else inside that child, I feel like the other children shouldn't have things that they don't have. And once they start getting outside here, things become very different because now the parent is not there. Hapo ndo unasikia your child got married. Within 2 days, amefukuzwa ama vita ilitokea. You see these things. So it's toxic when now someone feels like it must be theirs. It must be theirs. And some of them wako ready kupigana nawe. Why is it that most of these big companies zinaanguka? It's because of that. I feel like I deserve. And once you've known that, for me, if I know that that's how my family is, I'll just get out of that place, go and do something else. Mali siko connected now.
Okay, so I feel like when Zalba's mentioned, do you have another one?
You see, this thing about toxic families, it's so wide. And I feel like judging children, judging your children, judging your brothers and sisters, also, it's a problem.
Okay, so how do we deal with this in any kind of situation? What would you advise someone to do if
So for me,
they are a victim of toxic?
For me, it's always simple. Whether you do good, whether you do bad, people will talk, right? So, one, if you know you can stay and persevere for a while, do it. If you know that you can stay, silence is the best weapon.
And I can tell you, silence.
Most parents see that as disrespect. It's not disrespect.
You know, the person who said that you can never. I don't know what they said. I feel like they saying that you never argue with parents. Never argue.
Don't argue with them.
It is very vital. I mean, it is so vital to a point that I had seen it. When you argue with parents, it's like you're digging an
But then the more you argue with them, the more you empower their ego and their the monster inside them. Then they start attacking you. They feel like, oh, by the way, you're fit.
And when you start talking, that's when you give them points on when to crash, where to, you're silent. They
don't know what you're thinking.
Yeah, they don't know what you're thinking.
Then they start saying, oh,
You just
because you kept quiet. So I feel like this conversation needs a second part.
Okay.
Because it's so wide.
Yeah, it's so wide. So I'm putting up a disclaimer. I don't feel like you should be disrespectful in my comment section about this issue, because if you haven't gone through it, you can't talk about it. You will never understand what it is about. You've not seen someone go through it, you will not understand. Because someone else who is from a loving family will come here and start saying that, oh, you're disrespectful to your parents. Not all parents are the same, and I'm not condemning parents who are not good to their children. I'm simply saying that it is high time we changed. It is high time we taught our children discipline with love. And there is this notion of you have to instill pain on a child, even if they're 24, 23, 21, 25 years, you want to instill discipline on a child by instilling pain on them, that is so useless. I'm just sorry to say it, but I feel like it's so backward. Is it so difficult for you to sit down a person who is above 18 and just talk to them? Because I believe the mind is full of sense. What use will it be to make this person? And okay, the people who say that if you keep on punishing a teenager by pain is when they start distancing themselves from you.
See, this generation, you call it generation, is it Generation Z? I don't know, Generation Z. This generation, there's a way to deal with it because they're exposed to a lot of information in the internet. And teenagers, okay, I'm not saying it's bad to inflict some pain in them, but don't overdo it. Because the more you do it, it creates some distance in between you. There's that repulsion in between, right? So it's not attraction. So when you start repelling evil, then you start saying, oh, nowadays you don't want to talk to me. Ask yourself as a parent, ask yourself as an elder child in that house, what has happened in this house that we see that hatuko pamoja kama kitambo. Another thing I would want to say is, parents, when we use scriptures, let's read it fully. Don't leave it hanging, because that's where it creates that issue. And your children will feel like they're usually wrong. There's a better way of doing things. So toxic families are there, yes. One of these parents that fight. By the way, I forgot to say about toxic families also comes in where maybe the dad beats the mom, or the other way around, the mom beats the dad. And that once the children start seeing this, when you're young, some point it'll look like it's normal. But when you start growing, when you start developing and knowing things, you'll come and realize, but it's wrong. But kama kuna uzoefu, some people will see it as right. So it's toxic in one way. There's a better way of solving issues as parents. You don't have to fight. You don't have to insult each other. You don't have to raise your voices in front of your children. I'm not saying it's wrong for you to raise your voices. If you want, do it in a place where your children can't say it. Same way to children. By the way, toxic families, places that involve children. For your children, live in a way that you're united. Because one day your parents won't be there. It will be you and your siblings alone. So if you can't live with that unity when still young, but there's no place you'll ever help each other. So this is why the topic is so wide. I feel like I can't finish everything today, but because it's also something that we need you, the audience, to talk to us, you, the subscribers and the followers, to talk to us about.
Yeah, because
share something. Yeah, we won't say your name. If you want your name to be known, it's okay with us. But whatever you tell us, it's something that will help someone. Talk about your experiences. Tell us, this is what I've been going through. We'll talk about it in this podcast, and someone will learn.
Another thing that can be a lifesaver for you if you're going through the same is creating boundaries and sticking to them.
Yes.
It is very important for you to have your own boundaries. If you feel like someone is always bringing you negative energy, you have a choice to make if you want to have that person in your life. The most difficult thing is that this is your family. It is blood. You can't take them anywhere. Even when they die, they're still your blood. Hata aende majuu, aende wapi, apotee, it is still your blood. So the only thing you can do is just create your own boundaries. If you only make it be that the only conversations you will have is if they ask you a question, that's okay. It is your decision to make.
Yeah.
Another thing is that if you feel like it's too much for you and you're falling into depression, because mental health is also an issue nowadays.
Yeah, true.
Many things, we just hear someone help themselves and we're like, ako na relationship, alikuwa tu sawa, kumbe it's the family. Another thing you can also do if you're in that situation and you feel like you can fall into depression is talk about it. Look for help.
Yeah.
Go to therapy or even talk to a friend. or if you feel like it's too much for you and you feel like you want to rediscover yourself and know yourself better, is remove yourself from that situation. You can even go live with a relative. You can even go live with a friend. Whichever way you decide, it's okay as long as it is doing good for you. And there's also this aspect. I'm sorry, I'm talking too much. I feel like many people are afraid to talk about it because of how do I say it? A stigma. The stigma of you, the stigma of you disrespecting your parents simply because you put up boundaries.
Can I say something? There's a difference between sticking to your boundaries and disrespecting your parents. This is something that people should understand, by the way. Sorry for being so straight or hard on this topic, but I feel like parents should understand there's a difference between me having boundaries between us and me disrespecting you. If I still do things for you, if I still talk to you, when you ask things, I still answer you.
That is not disrespect.
There is just some boundaries hapa katikati. Disrespect now is when I start doing things because I want to make you feel bad. I don't know. So many other things. So they should know the difference between distancing and disrespect.
Yeah, so that's it for today, guys.
And
When I had
I was also supposed to say something. I don't know. This one is a very dangerous way to deal with such things. You know, when you're coming from a toxic family, there is a way that she said, the polite way, and there's my way now. My way is tell them in their face that this is wrong. Go hard on them. But this one is very dangerous. It doesn't work for everyone. It doesn't work for everyone. I'm just telling you.
just laugh.
Telling you, it doesn't
Feel
work for
like
everyone.
they will never understand us because they feel like we are just bad children.
But hey, talk about it. Tell them what really shit.
But you don't have to do it in a way that you know you're going to cause some.
At times,
You are ready to sit them down and say like, okay, let's talk about this. I feel like it's an issue. And if it blows up, it means that it is beyond.
but can I tell you something? There are two ways of conveying an information. There is in the Bible, there is John the Baptist's way and Prophet Nathan's way. Prophet Nathan went to David, gave a story, and David was like, who is that person so that he might be arrested and all that. Then Nathan told him, it's you. So no, very polite story. Then there's John the Baptist way. This one you must know. If you try and do it, Salome will come for your head. I'm telling you the truth. If you want to do John the Baptist way, this one is you going and tell them, my friends, it's wrong. Well, the way John the Baptist told the lady that you are that woman, blah blah blah, and all that. Sindio, alimwambia tu hivyo. If you want to do that, it's up to you. But remember there are consequences. Salome might come for your head. And
Salome.
is it Salome or something? I'm forgetting that name.
Salome.
I'm forgetting the name. What's the name? But the lady might come for your head. Believe me.
Yeah, all I can advise you is that just do right by you.
Yeah.
And don't sit back when you're hurting. You can always talk to someone. Yeah, that's all I can say.
Yeah, 112 subscribers. Thank you very much for adding up. We really appreciate you. And the family is growing big and better. So you can communicate with us on Instagram. That is Let's Square It. On TikTok at Alcina_254, right? So like, subscribe, share with a friend and a friend and a friend. And don't forget to comment.
Yeah.
So have a nice day and see you in the next podcast.